Warning, we're going to be discussing events for currently running weekly anime.
If you want to avoid spoilers for certain shows, there are timestamps in the description. And we're back! Welcome back, everybody, to Timesink Anime Podcast. This is week 5 of summer 2019. It's still getting kind of difficult
sure?
to say. What?
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Are you positive?
I'm absolutely positive. Yes, it is week 5.
Look down at your calendar.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Just, let me just try and remember. Yes, it is week 5. I don't totally have a script I'm looking at right now or anything like that. But anyway, it is week 5. It is of summer. It is getting hot. The seasonal anime is shaping up to be absolutely fantastic. We saw a lot of good stuff this week. But anyway, I'm Jay, and this is my co-host, Rex.
Yo.
So anyway, we are just about halfway through. We are one more week, and we will be officially halfway through the season. It's weird, because some of the shows only just feel like they're kicking off, you know?
Yeah, well, it's like that 3-episode mark where usually the things start getting really heavy.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, the stories are just starting to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're already, like you said, almost halfway through the season, so we'll probably be talking about some other side shows next week.
Yeah.
I guess. Let you guys know if they're worth continuing on or checking out, or just to talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are, because as we said at the very beginning, there were quite a few good shows that
too many
that just didn't quite make the cut here. So we just decided to stick with the shows that we're watching. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
and I still have like some other stuff
mm-hmm.
that I'm trying to get to as well. Like I got Tanya up on the top of my list right now. It's because
of Isekai Quartet.
Yeah, because of Isekai Quartet.
Yeah,
and I keep hearing really good things about it. And then I also want to go back and watch some old KyoAni stuff.
Oh yeah,
like I'm not gonna watch the Endless 8, but I kind of want to rewatch Haruhi.
Yeah,
I rewatched Lucky Star for the 50th time.
You know, Lucky Star is never a show that I could get into. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get past the first episode.
What's some really old good KyoAni stuff?
Well, Clanad and Clanad After Story is up there. There's also, if you're looking for something a bit more recent, I've also heard Hyoka is pretty good.
I want to watch Amagi.
Oh yeah, Amagi Brilliant Park. We have a friend who's pretty much recommended that to us like ad nauseum. Said it's up there. He wouldn't say it's his favorite shows. He just enjoyed it quite a bit. So it's made me want to at least check it out. I mean, and I've heard good things, so why not, right? So, do we have any big news for this week?
We got some news. Nothing huge. We got Crunchyroll is removing the English dubs for Senko-san, Strike Witches, Isekai Quartet, and Million Arthur Season 2, which is, I'm assuming, a Funimation thing.
Probably.
I guess like they're working out some kind of deal where they can have the dubs up during the season on Crunchyroll, and they're going to take them down. I don't know, it sounds like more annoying politics.
Oh yeah, because you gotta love that nonsense.
Yeah, I stopped following that Funimation Crunchyroll debacle a long time ago. So all I
know is occasionally Funimation has shows that I want to watch. I haven't watched dub shows from them recently for quite a while.
No, me neither. I don't really watch dubs as they're coming out, anyways. Usually,
yeah, dubs are usually something that I go back and watch later.
Yeah, I usually watch dubs while I'm like doing something else. Like, yeah. I'll be playing a game or something, I'll just put a dub on in the background of something I've already seen before, mostly just to listen to the voice cast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I personally want to go back and watch, not the new Fruits Basket dubbed, because they got pretty much all the original voice cast back. And these are people who, you even pointed out, you haven't heard them do, like, voice work in years, like Justin Cook.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I know, right? It's so
I haven't heard that name in 100 years.
It hasn't quite been 100 years. Certainly feels like it, though, because he mainly does directing stuff these days. But anyway.
Next up, we got Kono Ototomare is scheduled to debut the second half on October 5th.
I kind of knew that was going to happen here eventually. Like, I remember hearing that it was going to probably air in the fall season anyway, but But on top of that, just the whole way that it ended. If it didn't pick up soon, then I was just gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Well, it's like that's fall season, right?
Yeah. October will be in fall.
And also the opening, Shota Aoi, the guy who sang Tone. His I think it was a single technically.
Yeah.
The video had like a bunch of guys in the background, but I think it was mainly just him. He did the vocals for the first opening. That was really good. And he's coming back to do the second opening called Harmony.
Huh. That makes sense. They're both musical related terms, so that actually should be pretty interesting. But yeah, Kono Ota Tondere was personally up there for me as one of those shows that I really enjoyed that season. It might not have been something that everybody watched because of the Funimation paywall, but I really liked it. It had some really good like watercolor looking illustrations and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just an overall...
It was a really, really pleasant music show.
Yeah.
With a couple of hiccups.
Yeah, nothing really too major, and nothing like absolutely outstanding or amazing, but it was good. It played around with some of the tropes that we'd seen in those club-based anime before, but we'd already talked about that kind of already last season. So, without further ado, moving on to the shows that we are currently talking about this season, starting us off with Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, blah blah. So first off, before we start talking about this, I want to give a thanks to Enrico Jesus Palma, for pointing out something last week when we were talking about it. So, apparently, there are 6 forms of the thunder breathing technique. But apparently, according to the comment they left, somebody probably misheard it, like because it was supposed to be Mutsu instead of Mitsu, Mutsu instead of Mitsu, and somebody probably heard Mitsu, so translated it as 3.
Yeah, I did go online and double check this, and it is true. Yeah, like there is supposed to be 6 forms of thunder breathing.
Yeah, so that was just a interesting little bit of trivia, and thanks to Enrico out there. Thank you for listening, and thanks for pointing that out. That was actually a pretty cool.
I definitely would have never.
I never would have guessed.
Then
that
they would have been later on the anime and be like,
"There are
6 forms now."
It's like, wait, what? Okay. But anyway, so this week we are continuing on with the fight against the Spider Family. Yeah. They continue to be terrifying.
Big buff Spider Dad.
Yeah, which there probably is a little bit more credence to the idea that he is the 12 Kizuki, or one of the 12 Kizuki, but at the same time, I still think that there's somebody pulling his strings, because he just seems to kind of be a big, dumb brute. Like, he doesn't really seem to be... Like, he seems to be the one that has the strength to back it up and is probably the strongest of the family, but I still think there's probably somebody manipulating him.
I mean, now he's the deadest of the family.
That is true.
Equally dead.
Yeah, because...
in one hit, no less.
Yeah, that was a really cool move. The 4th form, like the... what was it, like Endless Tide or something like that?
I really didn't expect him to be that much stronger.
Yeah.
Because both Tanjiro and Inosuke working together couldn't even take this guy out. And then the swordsman from earlier art just kind of walks up and blip, you're dead.
Yeah, it just is kind of showing like a massive gap in power between Demon Slayers. Like, this is someone who I think is one of the higher ranking ones too. Like, I don't even think he's like the highest ranked one.
No,
though.
He's not.
Like, he's like what, 1 or 2 ranks above where Tanjiro and company are, pretty much.
I'm not entirely sure.
We'll have to look into that, but we do know that he isn't even the strongest, and so that just kind of makes me wonder, geez, are the other 12 Kizuki even stronger than they are? Because that'd be terrifying. We could also be entering into some Bleach territory where they come up with some convoluted reasoning why the captains of the Soul Society, or the captains of the Demon Slayer Corps in this case, are getting wiped out by demons that were supposedly dead but are just, we're just hiding.
I don't expect this show to get that bad.
I hope not. Because I've been having a blast at this show so far.
I kind of expected Inosuke to, pull out a shonen battle turnaround against the big guy, which he kind of did.
Yeah.
When he just hammered the arm off.
Yeah. I loved his rationale behind that, too. It's so obvious what you have to do. If one sword won't cut it, all you have to do is just pound into the second sword.
Yeah. I do like how they gave him a moment of kind of like... seeing your life flash before your eyes.
Yeah.
But they they definitely subverted the expectation of like, oh, this is the point where he gets super strong and has a comeback attack.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he just almost died.
Yeah, no, that was actually a really tense scene to watch.
Yeah,
like, I was legitimately worried for him. Like,
they did a really good job with the directing here, because there's a lot of shows where you're thinking like, oh, they're the main character, so I know they're not going to die. Like, in this scene, I was like, oh, is it that kind of show? Like, are they just going to kill him off?
Like, I would hope not, because Inosuke is one of my favorite characters in this series.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just looking... And I think just because of the way of, like, how visceral of a death it would have been, the fact that he was just, like, slowly crushing his head.
Yeah, and just that blood, like, the gush.
Yeah,
out.
that just made the scene that much more tense. It just... Ugh, God.
He's got to be a little messed up under that hat right now.
Yeah, probably. He probably won't look as handsome underneath it from this point forward. Or he might be. Like, we don't know the extent of the Wisteria House's healing capabilities. Maybe they'll be able to completely reconstruct his face. Like, there's just a bunch of plastic surgeons and shit in there.
Well, hopefully they have some kind of healing ability, because Zenitsu, the butterfly girl, found Zenitsu.
That was cool how she appeared, by the way. Like, he was just kind of looking up and you just see a butterfly flipping around, and it just turns out to be her, and that's just the way her cloak looks. That was really cool. I wasn't expecting to see that.
I'm curious if it has something to do with him just being delusional, like half dead, when I saw like butterflies appearing and disappearing.
Yeah.
Or if that was like her ability to make illusions or something.
She seemed to be ridiculously quick.
Yeah.
Because she just kind of just went up like just up straight into the air, like with no rhyme or reason. So it seems like she can just move ridiculously quickly, almost kind of teleport or glide even. That I wonder, like, because we don't know like how many disciplines of breathing there are in the Demon Slayer Corps. Like, we know there's thunder, we know there's water, there's assumably wind and fire. But, and then also there's Beast, but that's Inosuke's thing.
Yeah, self-taught.
So, yeah, exactly.
I like how he, instead of calling them forms, he calls them fangs.
Yeah. Oh,
Beast
yeah, that's right.
First fang.
And they're not like long drawn out names either. Like, one of them was just like Gore, I think.
Yeah.
And the other one was Pierce. And so yeah, just quick, simple little names like that. I'm really enjoying this show. Like, I think it was actually legitimately terrifying when we saw like the one who I think is like the quote unquote mastermind behind it all, like the one who is like basically using spiderwebs as like some kind of twisted Jacob's ladder sort of deal, or cat's cradle. Like when Tanjiro called him out on his bullshit, and just like the way they framed his face and like all the coloring and stuff, that actually made it legitimately spooky. Mm-hmm. Like,
the random Demon Slayer guy who walked up could not have raised any more death flags.
Yeah, like, he pretty much said every death flag, and I was just thinking to myself, and I even looked at you, and I was like, okay, how long are we gonna keep this going? It was like 30 seconds. It's like, okay, he's gonna die now.
Yeah, he got the Resident Evil laser grid treatment.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like, I mean, that movie was already kind of stupid. I mean, but here it made a little bit more sense. But here's another thing I gotta bring up. Nichirin swords cannot be easy to replace, and we've seen like 3 of them snap so far.
Yeah, maybe they can get. Maybe the next episode is, well, after this arc, maybe they're going to be finding a blacksmith.
Probably,
because they have to replace. Well, are Inosuke's even?
I don't know.
They have to be, because he cuts off demons' heads.
Yeah, like
they die.
You'd think, like, or is there just some weird thing about him that we don't know? Yeah. I have no idea, because
maybe he made his own or something.
Like, because they certainly look like something he would make on his own. Like the fact they've got kind of like meat hook looking thing. Yeah, exactly. Just made for just ripping into somebody and just tearing stuff out in the most painful way possible. But yeah,
I was kind of hoping that Inosuke his swords would break, and then he would just have to rip the demon's head off with his bare hands.
I doubt he would do. Yeah, I would doubt he would do something like that though, because this demon was already pretty damn spooky and pretty hard to kill.
Definitely set up a good next episode. So we got the finale of the. Well, I mean, I guess the big guy's already dead.
Yeah,
the fight between Tanjiro and the brother, and I'm also wondering what the sister is going to be.
Yeah, even if she is something, because they've already pointed out like how it's weird for demons to sort of like congregate together like this. Like, it's just almost unheard of. Like, it's I'm just curious, like, how they're going to go about that and what secrets we're going to learn about demons and how they function. Like, and then, of course, they're probably all tied mainly because of Kimetsu, but we don't really know much about him. He hasn't even been brought up in the past, like, few episodes.
Nah. I think they did a good job bringing him in. Like, just kind of establishing a big villain.
Mm-hmm.
And then just having him disappear. And obviously, Tanjiro can't afford to just sit around hunting for him in the city all the time. He has a job to do now.
Absolutely. There's also one other thing. Like, it seems like the show just... Like, I doubt they're just forgetting it, but it just seems to me that they're forgetting that Nezuko also exists.
Yeah.
Because she's been just sitting in this box.
She's probably going to pop out next episode.
I was thinking, okay, is she going to pop out now?
Because Tanjiro doesn't have a sword now, so he's going to need help, probably.
Yeah. Nezuko might probably be able to sense, like, oh crap, somebody's in danger. So, maybe. Yeah. I guess we'll see.
So, next up is Dr. Stone. And it definitely pulled off of it was kind of a bullshit save, the way that Senku didn't die. But it was whatever. It was kind of clever in the context of the situation.
Yeah, it is. Like, I kind of like when this is a series that does kind of rely on, like, somewhat real life science and probably, but it still is like a world of fantasy in a lot of degrees as well. So willing suspension of disbelief. Like, It's not enough to completely detract. It was kind of goofy and kind of stupid, but at the same time, just in the context of the series, I can kind of forgive
you can hand wave it.
Exactly. Just like, all right, that was dumb.
I will say they earned it very well by at least how Senku got Big Man to attack his neck.
Oh yeah,
which is how over the course of the episode he was just like cracking his neck and rubbing his neck.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kind of trying to subconsciously put this idea in his head.
Yeah, like he was basically priming him. Yeah, that was a pretty cool and clever way of going about it. Like that's probably what plays into making it seem a little bit more clever to me, just the fact that he was just kind of basically playing a mind game with him. So yeah, I can kind of forgive that. And then of course, like how the other two figured out that he was probably figured out that he was thinking of something like outside the box, like just no, Senku would always try to he would never just willingly sacrifice himself like this. He would try to find a way to where everybody could survive, because that, even in those flashbacks, like, it was just kind of showing what he prizes the most is making sure everyone gets out alive.
But the question is now that they're... Wait, didn't the episode end without him actually waking up?
Yeah, he didn't wake up just yet.
But he's going to.
Yeah, exactly.
The question I have now is, now that they've gotten away and everyone's going to be okay again, I assuming their plan is probably going to be to meet up with the people.
I imagine so.
The smoke signal people, and then form more like a bigger group.
Yeah, because the next episode is called the Two Nations of the Stone World. So I imagine they're kind of gonna start breaking into factions, with Senku's faction and then Tsukasa's faction, because Tsukasa now knows how to revive people, because Senku told him before he broke his neck.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like, what exactly what that will bring. I think it's also really cool, like, how they showed, like, how much trial and error Senku went through just to get to the point he is now in this stone world. Yeah, actually kind of giving, like,
study everything, learn everything, try everything.
Exactly. Like, it was just kind of getting more insight into just understanding how Senku got to where he is now, and how much work he actually had to put in.
Yeah, he's not just a genius.
Yeah, he's not just like, oh, like, immediately everything will work out. He had to legitimately experiment and try everything he could think of.
Yeah, that makes him a lot more interesting of a character, in my opinion. Just he doesn't automatically know what to do.
Yeah.
What was it? Like fire?
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And then he just realized, I don't have the dexterity of a Yuzuriha, or I'm not just a brute like Taiju.
Yeah.
I can't do this just with the way I am. Like, because it's illustrating that he clearly has flaws. Like, he's not perfect. Like, he's not just immediately just, oh, I'm going to figure everything out immediately if I combine this and this. Like, he knows stuff, but he doesn't know exactly how to apply it in every situation. Exactly. Like, he needs the right materials and, like, a lot of trial and error, which I think is the mark of any great scientist, which Senku clearly is.
I really like the flashback too of it was at the beginning of this episode with Tsukasa thinking back like
had I had met you.
Yeah, had we met each other before the Stone World, we could have been friends, and he just kind of like inserted himself into those flashbacks.
That actually just made me kind of sad, actually, because Tsukasa's an asshole. He
went through undoubtedly a bunch of like really crappy shit to get to become the person he is now.
Of course, and I mean, and at the end of the day, he is still a kid with a very flawed sense of justice, right, wrong. His worldview is very black and white. Adults are bad, kids are inherently good, and that's not the case. And as Senku pointed out, he's a legitimately good person. He's also a murderer. And I think that it was a nice little, quick little thing of showing what could have been. And it's kind of sad to see that it didn't quite pan out that way, you know?
Yeah, I don't see him ever becoming an ally again,
no, I don't think so.
Because he's so fervent in his beliefs that he's never going to end up working together with Senku.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're too different. They have too different of worldviews.
He's probably going to go resurrect a bunch of people that are going to end up following his worldviews, and then there's going to be an antagonistic faction, a whole group of people that are probably going to have to fight against.
Yeah, exactly, which are probably more aligned with Senku's world.
Which, if Tsukasa doesn't get any technological advancement, I don't really see him coming out on top in this situation. If Senku ends up being able to make firearms and, armor.
Yeah, exactly.
And all that jazz.
I don't know, there is only, so much that, brute strength will get you.
I feel like Tsukasa's on a timer.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
I mean, we've also established, though, that Tsukasa isn't a complete idiot. He's actually pretty damn smart, so
but he doesn't want to use science. Though,
yeah. So. He doesn't want to, rebuild it to the point where civilization is where it was before everything.
Makes me wonder if he's going to make himself a gun.
Yeah, either a gun or he'll probably be able to use black powder and make bombs. Yeah. That's what it seems like they're mainly going to be using it for anyway, just bombs. Also, the moment when Taiju, thought that Senku was dead and was just, he freaked out, picked up a boulder and just threw it, and even Tsukasa was like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, why did you throw it in the air? Oh shit, that's black powder. It was kind of stupid, though, how just his clothes caught on fire and nothing else.
Yeah, only his upper clothing.
Yeah, exactly.
His pants were fine.
Yeah, and it just gave him an excuse to go, well, I don't need this anymore. Yeah. Rip.
Just be all cool for a second.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, I will agree. He's definitely a cool character.
Yeah, he is.
In terms of design and not. I don't really agree with his beliefs, but it's cool to me how how much confidence he has in those beliefs.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes him a really interesting antagonist.
Yeah, I think so too.
So tune in next week when Senku obviously wakes up.
Yeah, exactly. Next up on the list, Fire Force. Some people on KITSU have gone on saying that this is that they think it's one of the weaker entries this season. I don't agree with that worldview in the slightest, but
I think the part where they were talking to the mascots dragged on a little bit too long.
Oh yeah, this episode was did drag on for a while, and it looks like they recycled some stuff, and maybe that was intended for comedy or something, but it felt like it did drag on for too long. The mascots were not inherently funny characters. There are some interesting things they did introduce, though, like the idea that infernals can be sentient. That's actually kind of a spooky idea.
Yeah.
Although, and it makes you wonder, what causes that? How does it change for some people?
I think it's if someone has a belief that they hold on to so hard, or attachments that they have they're really attached to, then it'll carry over. Because remember the dad.
Yeah,
he loved his family so much that he just sat there and waited for someone to come in and kill him.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, that's a very fair point. I'm pretty sure they actually touched on that a little bit. It makes me wonder if there's more to it, because because the research division certainly seems to think there is more to it than that. We got introduced to the what is it, the 5th Division, I want to say?
Yeah, I think it was 5th Division.
Yeah. Princess Hibana. Yeah. She's a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
I don't like her. Like, I mean, I like her character, but I don't like her. Yeah. Because she's a terrible person.
I love how the entirety of her furniture was just people.
Yeah. This is like some Kakegurui shit.
They're all super into it.
Yeah, and exactly. Like, she's all stepping all over them and shit. She refers to pretty much everybody as, like, pieces of gravel, like, that don't deserve to talk to her, or they should just step aside and be walked on like the gravel they are. Things like that.
So, from a shonen battle angle, I was thinking of her power, and the rain started when she showed up, or a little bit before she showed up, and stopped after she left. So I'm thinking that was, like, her, not making the rain, but I think that they were... maybe shooting a hose up in the air or something to make water fall down. Because it looked like she heated up the water around Shinra's head or something. It looked like he kind of had a heat stroke for a second or something.
That's a good point.
It looked like there was like some sizzling or like steam coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Her abilities are kind of weird, and it looked like he was just so ready to fight, but then all of a sudden he basically just collapsed. Yeah, so I'm assuming she's a second generation? Probably.
Because they're more common.
Yeah, second generations are more common, and she could be a third gen, because
I think third gens are typically younger.
I think so, but third gens as well also they're the ones that are capable of creating their own fire. So
yeah, that's I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
she did that.
Like,
I guess she'd have to be a third gen unless she's some kind of sneaky.
Yeah, I was gonna say unless she was like using fire around her to heat up the water or something and just manipulate it that way, which that's totally possible. But I have no idea. Like, I don't know anything really about this character as of right now,
except that she's a bitch.
Yeah, she's a complete raging bitch, and she's entertaining to watch, but I hate her. She's absolutely a repugnant human being.
I'm really interested in the politics between different divisions in the Fire Force, because when we first started the show, it definitely led us to believe that all Fire Force, what are they called? What are they called? Fire Force something.
The Fire Soldiers?
Fire Soldiers, yeah. All Fire Soldiers were like the heroes that would go and save people and make people feel better. But the more we learn about the Fire Force as a whole, the less I'm feeling that way.
Yeah, exactly.
The more of the 8th Division seems like an anomaly.
Yeah, the 8th Division definitely seems like an anomaly, and like the fact that they are the fact that they're such a new division is why they're looked on with such disdain by the rest of the Fire Force, as evidenced by Hibana's attitude towards them.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we also have to deal with the idea that the rest of the citizenry doesn't seem to really appreciate them much either. Or it depends. Like, it depends on a case-by-case basis. But as they pointed out, a bunch of college kids just saw one of the mascots and just hurrayed him into a tree. And so that was one of the things. And then, of course, they got called in to go and do that, probably as some kind of prank.
Yeah, something like that.
Which, it is interesting how they're distinguishing between the fire soldiers and the firefighters. Like, because the Infernal this episode was a firefighter, actually. Not one of the fire soldiers, but he
was a fire soldier.
No, he wasn't. He was a firefighter. They even acknowledged that.
I thought he was a fire soldier that killed a bunch of people.
He was a firefighter that killed people. Huh. Like, he wasn't I'm pretty sure he wasn't a fire soldier. He might have been, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was a firefighter who decided to go crazy and kill people. Which that's really, really strange. What else is really strange is Joker, and him using infernal ashes as part of his power.
Mm-hmm. Just, I wonder how they get those.
Yeah, it seems...
Like, maybe they just have a farm or something. Like, whenever someone turns into it, they have a bunch of people, when they turn into infernal, they just burn them or something and keep their ashes.
Maybe. Like, that, it seems like it makes me wonder about this other division, or this other faction of people, because you have to remember, this is from the same creator as Soul Eater, so there are probably different factions of people all working against each other. Like, you have the witches that were their own independent entity, and even the witches had a bunch of infighting going on. So, I want to know more about Joker and what his affiliation is. Like, what's his goal? What's he doing?
What's their group?
Yeah, what is their group?
To me, it just seems like burn everyone, burn everything.
Yeah, just burn to the ground.
But this is a really good author, so I'm assuming that there's probably more to it than that.
Exactly.
Like maybe something along the lines of like a religious zealot or something. Like humanity is flawed, and we have to burn all of humanity to save them, or something. Something
like that. I have no idea. We don't really know much about the religion though either. Like, it's interesting to see like the news like basically saying the prayer.
Mahalo.
Yeah, exactly. Just
it's like a casual thing everybody says to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that Latin? That's Latin, right?
Latom? I think so. It could be made up, but
it sounds like a dead language.
Yeah, it does. Leave in the comments what Latom means if you know.
Leave in the comments how Latin is totally not a dead language, and you went to school for 3 years trying to learn it, and then your parents were like, you gotta do it for your job. And so next up, we got Fruits Basket. I was saying earlier that I could not imagine watching this show as a marathon, like back to back, like maybe like 20 episodes a day or something like that.
Oh my
because
God.
Every week I'm like just. This is a good episode. This is good. I drink this water right. Oh, this water it got in my eyes somehow.
Yeah, I'm just ready to get like emotionally shredded each week, and I'm personally glad that I'm watching it weekly, so I have at least some time to heal.
Yeah,
because if I was watching this like in a marathon session, I'd be probably like, oh God.
Yeah, it just sounds so rough because it doesn't feel forced either. There's so many there's a lot of sad moments in this series. But the author did a really good job of creating a setting that has lots of sad moments with this huge Zodiac family, and you can introduce the characters slowly, one at a time, and most, if not all of them, have a terrible backstory because the Soma clan fucking sucks.
Yeah, exactly. The Soma clan are without a doubt some of the worst family, are probably one of the worst families in anime. Just judging based on what I've seen so far. I haven't read any of the manga, so I don't know. Apparently, it gets even worse, which. Dear God, help us all if that's the case.
Yeah. Seeing Kisara, I think that was her name was.
Everybody just calls her Kisa, I think.
Her clinging around Toru was pretty adorable.
Oh my God, she's so precious.
And I was like,
oh, she's like a little sister. Just watching her big sister do everything. I was like, that's so cute.
I have genuine hope that her mom is gonna probably take Toru's words to heart and actually like realize how bad she's been being.
I don't think that her mom is a bad person. Like,
no,
I think
dealing with the stress.
I think she was just legitimately just tired and at her breaking points, and because she legitimately cares for her daughter. You can see that when she was like calling her up and basically telling her she doesn't like these kinds of foods and stuff like that. So I think her mom legitimately does care for her and recognize it, but she just needs some time away just to kind of like sort her own feelings out and hopefully be in a better position to actually help her daughter.
Yeah, artistically they did a really good job representing that too, because when she first walks up, she has that like dark shadow over her face.
And her eyes look kind of like dead fish eyes.
She looks like that kind of parent where you're like, okay, that's a terrible parent. They're being a really bad person to their kid. And then when Toru starts talking to her, her face kind of lights up a little bit.
And then she actually starts crying a little bit. And so, I think that Kisa's mom, I think she's not a bad person. I think she's just tired, which it totally makes sense because she just didn't know how to help her daughter. It's kind of hard to help somebody when they won't tell you what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. And major props to the director for not showing the other two answers on that paper. Because I'm assuming that all of them were just scrambled eggs with green onions.
Yeah.
Because when she got the call later on, we learned it was like, oh, she likes this. So
she doesn't really like hard foods, I think.
So she probably just wrote all three answers the same, covered it up, and then just made it just to make her feel better.
Yeah, that was a really nice moment.
It would have been really easy and really easy to elicit an emotional response from the audience by being like, okay, we're just going to show the paper at like the end of the episode and have all three answers. Which I have a lot of respect for not doing that.
Exactly. Like, it's easily just, it doesn't spell everything out for the audience, like in, like, bold text, like, pay attention, don't miss this.
And this show never does that. It never feels like it's saying, feel sad. You need to feel sad right now.
No, it's setting up, like, really organic situations that just feel sad by themselves. And you can, I mean, and sure, like, obviously there are techniques that kind of assist in that, like playing certain music and stuff like that. That all primes people, sure, but I think at the end of the day, that's more of just something to aid in that rather than actually like, oh, the sad music is playing and it's blaring over everything. It's not like it's complementing the situation. It isn't forcing a situation, because the situations by themselves are just sad. Like, because it's family drama. It's something that I think everybody can kind of relate to. And also, just considering, like, some of the stuff we've already seen, like, Momiji, like, already having his problems with his mom, and then, it kind of shows, like, the parallels between their stories, but how they're similar, but how they're different as well. Because Kisa, she doesn't have a great relationship with her mom. She has a damaged one, but they're working on it. And then her biggest thing is she's being isolated from other people, like her friends, her peers, like people her age. Not like her family, I think. Her mom is just getting tired.
Yeah, I think her mom probably, for like the past little while, has probably been not taking care of her as well as she has been. She's probably giving her like generic responses, like just please try harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, just get friends. And I'm sure she probably snapped at her a few times as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I really liked the parallel between her and Yuki in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
And we actually got a lot of character development for Yuki, I think.
That was a great way of doing that too, because it's sort of like it's an organic way of showing it, like how they have similar experiences and they both kind of relate, and he can relate to it. So, and we've spent a lot of time with Yuki, so we get a little bit more understanding on him as well. It's just an organic way of going about it, I think. And
then seeing him at the end with a genuine like smile on his face, saying, I'll accept the position. Exactly.
But then it's just like, I can't believe you did this I didn't do it for you. Like, just, once again, it's just like, oh, it's such a Yuki thing to do.
Yeah. And the comedy is so good they're so good at just throwing in jokes.
Exactly.
Like, I think it was Joss Whedon for the Avengers.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of, make a tragic story, have people die, but for the love of God,
throw in a joke.
Yeah, throw in a joke.
Like exactly. That's what he was talking about with the Agent Coulson thing. Like,
and that.
So that's what it does.
It's really hard to do correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
In a way that doesn't feel cheap. And I think the show's doing a really good job doing that.
Yeah, and I like how Kisa bit Toru the first time, and then when she got bit the second time, she's like, no, this doesn't hurt at all. Like, not at all. It's just basically trying to reassure herself, and also Kisa. It's like, you're not hurting me.
Insert Inosuke. It doesn't hurt. What doesn't hurt doesn't hurt.
Exactly. This show just continues to deliver on the emotional stuff. Like, I think that we are walking through, like, the emotional minefield at this point, and there are, like, every episode, it's going to be more and more difficult to not step on one. I think we are just getting right into the thick of it all, which, thank God, this show just continues to deliver in such a good way. So next up is O Maidens in Your Savage Season, another show that just continues to deliver on its adorableness and
its
really
uncomfortable topics.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, let me just say, one of the best parts of this episode was Sonozaki basically saying yes, like, to the guy who asked her out.
That was so adorably wholesome.
It was!
Like, I'm almost to the point, where I trust this guy.
Yeah.
I still just, like, I'm never gonna, I don't think I'm ever gonna fully trust them because they're teenage boys, and teenage boys are fucking idiots.
Exactly.
I should know. I was a teenage boy once.
Exactly. I think, though, that I'm sure he might not be perfect. Like, I know he's not going to be perfect. I'm sure there will be some relationship drama, but at the end of the day, he just seems like a good kid. He seems like a pretty damn good kid. Like, and the way that she went about basically saying, like, basically revealing that she said yes, just like like, read this when you get home. Like, and then the wind blows it away, and then he happens to pick up the one line that said, "If you would be so kind."
Yeah, I love just her reaction on the staircase.
It's like, don't announce
just
it.
Crying about it is so adorable.
She was so happy. It was such a precious, wholesome moment.
I'm thinking that your guess of Momoko being or homosexual is probably right.
Yeah,
because like it almost seems like she's kind of dating a boy just to do it.
I think so, and I think she mainly wanted to understand like how Kazusa felt, because I don't think there's a crush, like she has a crush on Kazusa. Like it seems like they're friends. It just seems like that's what they are. They're really good friends.
I'm guessing that's gonna be a plot point eventually.
You think, yeah,
she's gonna like confess to her or something.
Possibly, and she might confess to one of the other girls though. We don't know yet. I think though that she also just had a guy who was just kind of a bad
oh my god.
He was
fucking like 200 yen, or it was 200 yen.
Yeah, and he was making such a big deal about it.
The guy always pays, blah blah blah. The whole time I was fucking rolling my eyes.
Just like, oh,
shut up.
It's like, good lord, get off your high horse there, kid. Like, I understand you're probably new to this whole dating concept, but Jesus Christ, that's not okay.
I mean, dude,
he's
not terrible.
Like, he's young. He's young. He's stupid.
Refer back to my comment of teenage boys are stupid.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you just kind of look at and just cringe. But
I think my favorite character so far is Hongo.
Oh yeah, Hongo.
Just I like her design a lot, and I like her facial reactions.
Oh yeah,
like her like angular, cartoony eyes sometimes.
Oh yeah, exactly. I adore Hongo. She's a great character. All these girls are great characters, and it's unfortunate that Hongo has probably one of the most uncomfortable storylines.
Yeah, just like I really feel for the teacher in this situation, because it's like he's not a great person, and I really don't know what he's into. I think he genuinely doesn't like think of schoolgirls in a sexual way. I don't think he does. Yeah, because he said that like I was expecting the person to meet up with me would be like a big fat guy or something.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He's probably gonna lay into him. He's kind of been pulled into this situation, and it seems like he's genuinely trying to help her.
Like, exactly.
Because she was sitting in his car, like, crying about how she wanted to be an author, and she just couldn't get around that mental block. So he's trying to help her, but also really trying not to go to jail.
Yeah, I think, like, and it is such a weird situation. Like, I don't think he's a terrible person. He's just not, I think that he's not making the best calls.
No, definitely not.
But I also think that...
well-intentioned.
I think that also he doesn't have like a lot of interest in Hongo, like in a romantic or sexual way, and I hope they never delve into that, because that would just get really uncomfortable really fast.
How about pedophile Music Man?
You mean her acting coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved how when she was telling that story to Izumi, it's like, geez, he sounds like such a pedophile.
He's such a good reflection of the audience right there.
Yeah, it's
like every time we cut back to him, he's just like, I hate him more every time you talk about him.
Yeah, he's just like, he seems like such a pedophile. Oh yeah, he was.
And what a complicated pedophile he was.
I know, right?
Like, he never wants to touch any child sexually, because then they would stop being a child, and he'd stop caring for them.
Yeah,
it's like, I guess, and don't chop this up or take this out of context, but theoretically, if you're going to be a pedophile, that is the least damaging pedophile I've ever seen.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's still creepy and disgusting.
It is. It's absolutely 100% creepy and disgusting, and I'm glad they acknowledged it as such.
If we're plugging holes up in the dam with all the leaks, that's a tiny leak, I guess.
Like, that's not near... Like, that's
it was really creepy how he, like, rubbed his face on her foot. As soon as they did that, I was like, okay.
This is creepy.
This is this guy. And it's really fascinating, though, to me, how she acknowledges, like, how terrible of a person he is, but there's still like that emotional connection.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because he was her mentor. Like,
I think
pretty much.
he was her first love, probably.
Probably, yeah, that too.
I mean, obviously not reciprocated.
I don't know if that was necessary. I guess you could probably qualify it more infatuation because he was the one that was like basically giving her attention and stuff like that. Like, as unhealthy as that fucking is, like I can understand it. I don't respect it, but I understand it completely. And I think that I think Sugawara is a great character though, and we're slowly starting to learn more about her and why, like, because she's always been the most mysterious of the girls so far. We're slowly figuring out more.
That's
what
everybody says too. Like, she's so mysterious. And
yeah, like
strange.
Exactly. I think I absolutely adored how she told Izumi. It's like, oh, no wonder Kazusa has such a crush on you, and he's just like, what?
You didn't know?
Just
speaking of Kazusa, I think they did a really good job in the beginning introducing Kazusa as like, this is the baseline. Like, this is the low-level baseline of fucked up shit that's happening right now. You just have, like, girl likes guy likes girl, whatever. And then they kind of just stack different characters up higher and higher and higher, and like this, in terms of fucked up shit happening.
Yeah, Kazusa's definitely seems to be, like, the most...
a control group.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that she still does like Izumi, and I don't know, like, what Izumi's feelings on her are yet. Like, he now knows that she likes him, or at least has a crush on him. But
yeah, I could easily see them not end up, like, it's 50-50. Like, normally you'd expect them to end up together, childhood friends, anime, etc. But this shows...
but usually the childhood friends don't end up together in anime, it seems. Like, in most of the situations I've seen, the childhood friend is almost always the one that's left in the dust.
Modern anime, yeah. But old school ones, definitely childhood friend. That's how the trope started.
I guess that's true.
But true. Also, this is a really impressively written anime, and I'm not expecting any tropes to hold up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Hongo, I don't think anything is actually going to happen with her teacher, or I don't know. Like, the series has done really well kind of keeping us on our toes.
That's a good way to put it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We're discovering a lot of things, just like these girls are discovering a lot of things.
So next up is Vinland Saga, which we're finally into a normal schedule, it seems like. And
yeah, that's what I've heard. They're finally releasing them on a weekly basis.
And so earlier on in the series, they introduced Thors as this character that we all, like, physically he looks really big and intimidating, but everyone hyped him up all the time, like, oh, he's this big badass, he was like a war hero. We saw him like jump across ships in the beginning and kill a bunch of people, but he got taken out by an arrow, so we're like, oh, he's kind of strong. But like, this episode did such a good job
of showing just how damn strong he really was.
No, strong in like multiple ways, like strong in terms of physical strength, strength of character.
Yeah.
Like how smart he is and how calmly he thinks through things.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's been through this kind of stuff many times.
And there was not a single point in this entire conflict on the boats that he wasn't considering the lives of everyone around him to be the top priority.
Yeah, and that includes his enemies, which I think shows a huge testament to his character.
I think his enemies' lives weren't so important to him as like them living, but if any of the enemies died, it would be less likely that everyone around him would be just allowed to go on their own merry way. That
is true, but at the same time, I think that he legitimately just didn't want to kill anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone.
That's probably just... he said that already, I think. He just doesn't want to kill anymore.
Yeah.
Like a statement of a true warrior doesn't need a sword.
Yeah, like, and he's basically trying to... Like, he doesn't want to rely on it. He actually thinks of himself lesser for having to, really.
Yeah.
But just seeing him, like, punching people, like, breaking their arms.
That was so good.
Like, he threw a guy into the water, like, and then when he realized the guy couldn't swim, he threw him in order to grab him.
That was such a good little detail.
Yeah. It really was.
My favorite action scene in this episode was definitely the part where Askeladd?
Yeah, Askeladd, yeah.
Askeladd sliced the sail.
Yeah.
And it just comes tumbling down, and you get that sweeping camera shot of Askeladd sneaking in under it and trying to cut Thor's chest open.
Like obviously people are not going to be able to move the way like these guys do. So there's a little bit of
embellishment.
Yeah, there's embellishment and definitely fantasy-ish stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I didn't expect this to be 100% accurate. Like, I just didn't. I knew it wasn't going to be.
It's loosely based on real events.
Exactly.
Very loosely.
Exactly. And I mean, and
a real setting, not real.
Exactly. Events. And I wanted to say that that Askeladd, I love his character because he's because he just didn't. Like, he is also just incredibly smart. You think at first it's just like, oh, he's just a leader of a bunch of thugs. No, he's pretty damn convincing and skilled in his own right, for sure.
Like, I think he has a small amount of honor left.
Yeah.
And it definitely seemed like in the beginning he was genuinely enjoying just the fight of everything. Yeah. Until he realized, like, oh, fuck, I'm not going to win this fight.
Yeah.
And then the Berserker comes across, takes Thorfinn as a hostage. And then he's like, oh, well. He had like a last-ditch effort, it seemed, when he said, you could be our leader.
Yeah. It seemed like he legitimately wanted to give somebody he respected an out. Because
an out to not die.
Yeah.
Like, it's a waste. Because after that, he said, like, all of your lives combined don't equal
the lives of this one guy.
Yeah. So there was so much genuine respect for Thor's, which I think adds on top of the fact that whole scene adds on top of the fact of showing you how everyone respects Thor so much.
Yeah.
He's so widely respected by everybody.
Even somebody who was just trying to kill him a little bit ago and did end up killing him, really.
Oh man, as soon as he got hit by like 10 arrows.
But he was still standing.
Stood up because he didn't want to. I think it was mainly for his son.
I think he just didn't want to show weakness in that moment. Like, he still wanted to hold true to his ideals. And show
he probably wanted his son's last memory to be of his father standing.
Standing proud, standing tall. Like, kind of holding on to that warrior spirit. Which, also, special props to the actor that played Thorfinn. Like,
when he's in the boat behind him?
Yeah, just screaming. Like,
that's gotta be painful.
I actually, I acknowledge, like, good lord, that could not have been easy on their vocal cords. Like I'm pretty sure it's an
2 or 3 takes max.
Like, just, Jesus, it must have been difficult on them.
Yeah, because that was not, like, they did not amp that up. Digitally.
That was like just this.
That was like, someone in a room screaming their fucking heart out.
Yeah, that was just it was so visceral and so real and just such anger and sadness and just pure unbridled just emotion there. It's really hard to, like, it would have been really hard to get that done. And I actually give mad props to the actor for being able to pull that off. It was probably a woman because, young boys.
It was.
Yeah. But my point being, holy shit, they did a great job. Mm-hmm. And I'm just now looking forward to, like, and just the way they animated that look in Thorfinn's eyes, just like how absolutely pissed.
It actually made a boat full of grown murderers who were laughing just a moment ago. It's actually like, stop and,
like, Jesus,
what the fuck is wrong with that kid?
Like, just good fucking God.
I'm assuming that next episode we're gonna get into probably a time lapse of Thorfinn growing up working under Askeladd. Or he said he'll be dead soon, so he's probably gonna be like starving on that boat, but just holding on to that rage so much that he doesn't die.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, well, no, he said leave him. It didn't, and they didn't cut the rope or anything.
No, but he said leave him. He'll be dead soon. I'm assuming they have a bit of a journey left on the ocean.
Yeah,
so he's gonna be back in that boat with like no shelter. Or little shelter, no food.
Yeah, because he was hiding underneath the deck, just kind of crying to himself and screaming.
So they probably just said, leave him back there, he'll die on his own.
Yeah, exactly.
Which Askeladd was probably thinking, well, this is a test or something.
Like, probably just to see, like, how much the son of the Troll of Yom, or whatever his name was, can actually live up. Which, god damn. I'm so looking forward to the next episode, because we're finally on the... Like, Thorfinn is now the protagonist.
Yeah, this seems like almost the end of the prologue.
It is.
I think to make Thorfinn the protagonist in this context, Thor's almost had to die.
Yeah.
For the sake of the story. And, I mean, the author obviously made me feel that way because he wrote it out so well.
Yeah, and I think that it would have been... I kind of do respect the production decision of, like, showing the first 3 episodes, like, because...
Really good idea.
Yeah.
It would have been a terribly slow 3-week burn.
Yeah, exactly. It was a slow burn, like, while we were watching it, but all the same, like, this 4th episode really delivered the goods here, and I am really looking forward to the next...
Well, I want to clarify, too. It was a slow burn, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel bored at all watching
Oh, no, absolutely not. I was, like, 100% invested. Just... I mean, and a lot of stuff, like, it was good stuff, but it was just kind of, it was slow paced. It was like a trickle. It was like a trickling down, kind of building up the story and the setting and its characters, and all of it was great. But I'm just saying, we're finally, like, capitalizing on the stuff that we've been building up.
12 or 24?
I think it's going to be 24. I'm not entirely sure, though.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's going to do it for week 5 of summer 2019. I almost said 2018. It is not 2018.
I'm thoroughly invested at this point.
Yeah, me too.
and all the shows I'm watching and more, obviously. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we'll put out it's probably not going to be our main episode of the podcast, but we'll put out a little side episode talking about some side shows that we're still watching, keeping up on those, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
If you have did I interrupt you saying anything important?
No. Go ahead and finish what you were saying.
If you have anything that you want to say, go ahead and let us know in the comments below. Any opinions on any of the shows we're talking about, or any shows we should be watching, etc., etc.
Yep. I did actually have one thing I wanted to say. We recently caught up with the finale of JoJo Part 5.
Oh yeah, we watched it. Not gonna talk about it right now.
That deserves a video all on its own.
An entire video we're gonna be talking about the entirety of Golden Wind.
Yep.
And all the highs and lows of that journey.
Yep.
So thank you guys for checking in again this week.
Yep. You want to do the honors?
Bye.